Why did Joseph think to put away Mary? Let's learn. It is often asked in debates and conversations amongst people of different sects of the faith of Christ why Joseph had it in mind to put away Mary. Today we will explore and explain why. Now for the first witness. We can see in Luke 1 verses 26 and 27 the angel Gabriel was sent from God to a virgin, and that virgin was Mary. Now let us see what the word virgin means in the Greek.
Strong's G 3933. Parthenos. Parthenos.
This word has two biblical usages. The first is a virgin and the second is a man who has abstained from all uncleanness and whoredom attendant on idolatry, and so has kept his chastity. According to the scriptures, we know Mary was a woman who has never had sexual intercourse with a man. The reason we know this is because in Luke 1 verse 34 Mary asked Gabriel how she will conceive a child when she has not known a man. We will now see what it means to know in the Greek.
Strong's G 1097. Gnosko. Gnosko.
According to the outlined biblical usages, this word has multiple meanings, but the meaning in the context of Luke 1 verse 34 is sexual intercourse between man and a woman. Meaning when Mary says she has not known a man, she is saying she has not had sexual relations with any man, showing that Mary is a virgin who has never had sex. Now we know that Mary was a virgin, so what happened to Mary that made Joseph want to put her away? We will have to look at Mary's actions after she hears the news from the angel Gabriel. The angel Gabriel tells Mary about her cousin Elizabeth, who has also conceived a son. This was a miracle because she was called barren but was now in her 6th month of pregnancy. We see in verse 39 and 40 of Luke 1, Mary after hearing the news goes into the hill country quickly into a city of Judah and entered in the house of Zacharias and stayed with Elizabeth for about 3 months. After the 3-month stay she returned to her own home. What makes this move by Mary significant is instead of going to Joseph and telling him the news first, she goes to Elizabeth and stays with her for 3 months. If a woman is 3 to 4 months into a pregnancy, her baby bump will definitely be showing. We know this because in Matthew 1 verse 18 it says, before Mary and Joseph came together she was found with child. Now let's see what it means to come together.
Strong's G 4905. Sunerchamai. Sunerchamai.
As we can see, the outlined biblical usages are to come together, either in an assembly or of conjugal cohabitation. Or it means to go, depart, or come with one, to accompany one. In the case of Matthew 1 verse 18, the come together is of conjugal cohabitation. Now to see what conjugal cohabitation means. Since Mary and Joseph are clearly not living together or married around the time of Mary staying with Elizabeth, we know this because she went back to her own home after 3 months. It is impossible for Joseph to have had sex with Mary in that time period of those 3 months. Now according to Luke 1 verse 27 and Matthew 1 verse 18, Joseph and Mary were espoused to each other. Now we need to see what that word espoused means.
Strong's G 3423. Menestuo. Menestuo.
Espoused means to be promised in marriage, betrothed, or to woo or ask her in marriage. Or in modern terms, they were engaged to be married but not married yet. As Matthew 1 verse 19 says, Joseph was a just man and not willing to make Mary a public shame. So let us see what it means to be just. As we can see, the way of the just is uprightness. So what does it mean to be upright? To be upright means to keep yourself from iniquity or sin. This means Joseph was a law keeper. Now how can we show that Joseph was a law keeper? Joseph performed all things according to the law of God when it came to the circumcision of Christ and the purification of Mary, as well as keeping the feast of the Passover at Jerusalem, which Israelites were told to keep as an ordinance forever. Now while these two examples are after Christ's birth, it shows how just he was, because before the birth he was just and after the birth of Christ he continued to be just. Now we are going to go to the law of Moses or the Torah to see for what reason or reasons you could put away your wife. Deuteronomy 22 verses 13 and 14 gives a situation where a man marries a woman, has sexual relations with her and brings up an accusation against her claiming that when he went into her she was not a virgin. The father and mother of the woman are to bring the tokens of her virginity to the elders of the city. If they spread the cloth, the token of virginity, before the elders of the city, showing that their daughter was a virgin before the husband went into her, the elders chastise him and he is punished with a fine of 100 shekels of silver to the father because he lied on her. He also cannot put her away all the days of his life. However, if the husband wasn't lying and she had slept with a man before him, then she is stoned to death because she was a whore in her father's house. Deuteronomy 22 verse 22 says that if a man has sexual relations with a married woman, both the man and the woman will die. Deuteronomy 22 verses 23 and 24 speaks of a woman who is a virgin betrothed to a husband, and if she is found by a man in the city and has sexual relations with her, then they will both be stoned to death. The woman because she did not cry for help or because she lay with the man willingly, and the man because he humbled his neighbor's wife. Numbers 5 verses 12 to 13 and 19 speaks to the same temperament of what was shown in Deuteronomy 22. If any wife is gone aside to have sexual relations with another man outside of her husband and it is from him, and she's defiled, the priest will charge her by an oath that if she has stayed faithful to her husband she will be free from bitter water that causes a curse. But if she has gone aside to have sexual relations with another man other than her husband, the oath of cursing is that the Lord will make her thigh rot and her belly swell because of the bitter water that causes the curse. When she drinks the water and she is defiled, the water will become bitter and make her belly swell and her thigh rot. She will be a curse among her people and she can be put away by her husband. However, if she is not defiled, she will be free and will conceive seed. Notice that a man could only leave his wife for the cause of infidelity. So in the case of Joseph and Mary, he could only leave for the cause of infidelity. However, we have to remember, Mary never knew a man sexually. After being told about conceiving a child, ran to stay with her cousin Elizabeth for about 3 months. Mary and Joseph were espoused during the time of Luke chapter 1 and Matthew chapter 1, so anytime you want to use the law to explain why Joseph would put Mary away, it has to be from that sense. Joseph did not have sexual relations with Mary until after Mary had given birth to the Messiah. So with all the witnesses in mind, why did Joseph think to put away Mary? It's because she was gone for about 3 months, and when she showed back up she was pregnant, and he thought she had went behind his back and had sexual relations with another man. Hence the reason of wanting to put her away, and the reason for an angel of the Lord appearing to Joseph in a dream and telling him that the seed is conceived of the Holy Ghost. The Lord bless thee, and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee, and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee, and give thee peace. Hope and pray that this was edifying and educational. Shalom.